Hello, I'm Rick Stivers with YoungMartin'sReels. Today's project is going to be this Shakespeare 1771 spincast reel. It's a Wonder Cast by Shakespeare, 1771. This is, let's see, model code EC. I'll look that up in a minute and we'll find out when that was made. This reel doesn't work. This reel doesn't work very well. You can barely turn the handle, and it's really bad to turn these when they're really stiff like that, but you can barely turn the handle, and when you push the button, it just pops right back up. This spinner head or rotor, depending on which version of name designation you want to use, does not stay up. So we're going to work on that and see if we can do that. Before we do that, though, I discovered a new fishing reel repair channel today, and I'm going to introduce you to it. Okay, the name of the channel is called Fishing Things, and I don't know the gentleman's name who makes it, but I've really enjoyed his videos. There it is. He has 78 videos on there, but only 34 of them, I think, are actually fishing repair videos. Most of them he does is on these spincast reels, and he isn't really loyal to any particular brand, but let me scroll past this and you can see a bit of it. Okay, you can see a little of what he's got. These are his channels, and he's done an excellent job. He's come up with some repairs that I haven't thought about before, such as how to fabricate new crank knobs. That's an excellent video. He's got another one on doing repairs, molding broken replacement parts. So I've really enjoyed his videos, and I have subscribed, and if you guys want to see more videos of his, by all means subscribe to his channel. He's doing really good, nice things out there. He's made these 32 videos in the last 4 months, so that's pretty good. So let's get back to trying to repair this 1771 Shakespeare. We're going to start off by taking off the cover, and we'll go ahead and take out this nut. Take that off, and it's got a lock washer underneath it. And then we can just slip this up. And there's nothing to this thing. It's pretty solid. No moving parts, so typically these won't fail. Okay, and if you look, this does not stay up, and we'll just describe what's happening there and why, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and take the handle off first. Okay, there's the handle off. Let's unscrew the drag knob. We'll take off this tension washer. Notice the direction that that's installed, like so. All right. And that's everything we can do over here. So now we're going to remove these 3 screws. All 3 of those screws are the same. We'll take this off. And on some of these Shakespeares, there is a spring, a tension spring loaded in here, but this one doesn't have one, so that makes that pretty easy to put back. Let's see here. This is the sleeve. Okay, that sleeve's going to go through the push button to hold it in place. So let's go ahead and remove the push button from there. It's got a metal plate here, so we'll clean this up, lubricate it. All right, let's see what we have here. Okay, I'm hoping the design on this allows it to just turn one way or the other to come for the spool to come off. I can hear it moving slightly. So let's see if we can see anything inside that's locking it. I see nothing here. Okay. Okay. There we go. It doesn't rotate, it pulls straight out. And if you look right here, see this notch? That's what was preventing it from being able to turn left or right. So instead of turning left or right to unlock, it just pulls straight out like so. All right. We got some old grease here we'll have to clean up. All right. Now, normally we would like to be able to pull this out, but let's see if it's going to come out this direction. I'm thinking the answer is going to be no. Okay, so what we're going to have to do on this, let's get down inside there. Okay, if you look, there's going to be a C-clip in here, and there's this little hat channel looking thing. It's not a C-clip, it's a wire clip. Okay, and we're going to have to pull that wire clip off and dismantle this axle shaft assembly. There's the wire clip. Let me show it to you. And it must be made out of steel since it's seems to be sticking. All right, there's the clip. All right, I'll set the clip over to the side so we don't lose it. All right, now we've got that little hat channel on the top. And if we try real hard, we can probably get some of this to slide out through the front. I'm going to take the hat channel off this way by reaching inside. And the reason I call this a hat channel is if you look at it, it looks a little bit like a cowboy hat. See if I can get it in the picture. There you go. All right. So we're going to set that over there with the clip. All right, now this will pull straight out the front, like so. Axle shaft is dirty. There's our spring. And here is our pinion gear. Okay, we're going to look, see if there's a washer on the pinion gear. There is not. All right. Now, this is the part that was gummed up the most in this reel. Let's stretch this back out a little bit now. We don't need to be quite out so close. I'm trying to push this axle shaft in, and it does not hardly want to go. There it goes. That is what is hanging up this reel. There it goes. And preventing it from functioning easily. Okay. There it comes. And look at what we got here. We got a spring. Okay. So here's what we have. We've got an anti-reverse clutch. Look at the direction the teeth are facing. We're going to want to put that right back the way it came off. Pull this out like so. And there is our drag washer there. And the drag washer has got a spring wrapped around it. Okay. And that spring is going to act as kind of like a, it's going to cause it to grab hold and cause the anti-reverse lever, this end of it here. See that hook? That hook will have to be placed into this little groove right here on the anti-reverse claw. I've never seen that before on a reel, so that one's new. And we'll have to get that figured out, make sure that that gets in there. Now, I believe that this sleeve right here is supposed to come out and turn, and it's not. So let me see if I can get that sleeve driven out of there. I think that's the biggest problem that this reel has, is that part is supposed to be able to turn and it's not. So I'm going to come back to you in a minute. All right, I'm back, and I'm slowly but surely getting this sleeve driven out of here. It is caked in there, and it still won't hardly turn So what I did is I got a nut driver that was just smaller than the diameter of the sleeve, and I'm tapping this ever so gently, there we go, to drive it out. Now, if you look inside there, I don't know if you can see very well, but all that old grease and stuff inside there is what was causing all this to gum up. We will be cleaning all that grease out of there, and once that's done, that will take care of that problem, I believe. All right, let's see what we have down here. There should be a spring in this notch right here that should allow our axle shaft to stay locked out. Yeah, it's in there. Just couldn't hardly see it. It's so small. And we'll see if I can get it to come out. And we will adjust it as necessary. There it is. See the wire? All right. That's our wire. That's our spring. Okay, and it's a little bit sprung. So we're going to adjust that in by squeezing it down just a little bit. And then we're going to clean out the groove that it rides in and clean the spring itself off. And that should, the way that's supposed to work is this axle shaft is supposed to slide forward like so. And when, see this area right here, when that area slides over the spring, it's supposed to push out the spring as it lifts up. Once it gets past the spring's supposed to pop back into the slot, and that's supposed to hold this in place until it rotates. And when it rotates, boom, it's supposed to drop back down. So we'll get all this scrubbed up and clean, and that should allow this to start working again. Okay, let's finish up taking this gear apart. We'll take this side off of it now. And the last one of these I worked on had all these threads torn up here. This one does not. And let's see if we can get the last drag washer off. There we go. All right. Here's the last drag washer. And we'll scrub those up, clean them. I believe these are supposed to be put together without oil. And I think this is going to be a nice, fine little reel when we get done. I'm going to go ahead and scrub all these parts up. When I come back to you, we should be ready to operate. Parts are now clean, and it's time to begin reassembling. So what we're going to start off with is going to be this piece right here. This is our crankshaft. Well, before we do that, I have to check something, see if it's going to fit properly. Yeah. Okay, we needed to make sure that that sleeve was, I haven't cleaned that, or test fitted that sleeve that I had to drive out. And now that it's clean, it fits in and slides easily. So that's actually the first piece that we're going to put in. So let's go ahead and drop that in. But this piece needs to be oiled. I'm not going to grease that because I don't want to put drag into the reel. So we're going to oil this sleeve, the outside of it. We're going to slip it in to the case and rotate it around a bit. Okay, and if you notice right here, there's an oil hole specifically made for oiling that, although it looks like it's been years since anybody's oiled that. Okay, this shaft, this sleeve is actually going to rotate. The crankshaft normally, except when drag is sliding, is going to be locked inside there. So let's go ahead. We've got the sleeve in. We're going to set this up now. We are going to install this drag washer on it. And we want to install this dry. So let me get the grease and oils off my hands and wipe that off. Okay, I'm going to put that drag washer on first. That then goes through this main gear, sliding through like so. Next is going to go this drag washer, which is dry. I've cleaned it up pretty good. But that spring has got to be sticking out. See it right there? It's got to be sticking out like that. And next is going to go our anti-reverse cog. I'll slide that on like so. With all of that done, we are pretty much ready to go ahead and apply some grease to this shaft. Now, we don't worry about this being sluggish on this shaft, because the only time this shaft is going to turn inside this sleeve is when the drag is slipping. And we really aren't going to care too much if that's happening. All right, now we've got to put this in, and this hook right here has got to go into that slot on the anti-reverse. So we're going to maneuver this around, and it's difficult because you can't see it. And that anti-reverse fell over. There we go. And we've got to get that to go in there and get locked into place, hopefully. Okay, and I managed to catch it. So if you look, it'll rotate this way, but it won't rotate backwards. All right. With that done, we're going to put this tension washer back on right here. Put that on like so, and then we're going to put on our star drag. It's our drag adjuster knob. Okay. And we're going to tighten that down as tight as we can get it for the moment. And then we're going to leave it right there. Okay. Next is going to be this spring. Now, before we put this spring in, here's what I want to do. In the event that you have one of these and that spring is broken, I want you to be able to make one. As a matter of fact, here's what we're going to do. I want to make a measurement on the other spring as well. I meant to do it before we put this in. Let's slide this out. And I want to tell you what size spring wire this is. Okay. It's measuring out to 24 thousandths. Okay, let's see what size this one is. 19 thousandths. So a spring wire, if you were to couldn't get this part and you needed to make this, you would try to get a 19 thousandths piece of spring wire, and they sell it on eBay. I've bought some, and put that in. Let me put this back real quick and I'll get right back to you. Okay, it appears that we can put that spring wire in like this by putting the cog in first, putting the drag washer with the spring in, and go ahead and get that spring loaded into that where you can see it, and then come back and install the gear. See if that'll work for us. There we go. Perfect. All right, so that's an easier way to do that. All right, so the first part we're going to want to put in is the axle. And I don't like to grease axle shafts because it tends to create some drag. But in this case, I think no larger than this assembly is right here, I think we can get by with doing that. And it's a really tight fit to begin with, and we don't want to create any grief here. And we need this to be able to slip past the spring as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and grease that up. Slip it into the housing. You have to come in through the buttonhole first in the back and slide this forward like so. Okay, and then you've got to get it up far enough that that's going to fit. Now Next to go in is going to be our pinion gear. And you notice I'm not putting any grease on any of this yet. That's because we can grease it all after we get it in. It's a little less messy on the fingers. Okay, let's slide this forward. The pinion gear has to be installed at the front, like so. Okay, and then matched up to the gears, like that. There, and that's a good fit on it. Okay, just like that. Next is going to go the spring. And you can probably slip it in. Nope, won't go in through the back. So let's go ahead, slide this down a little bit, and let's get that spring slid over it, like so. And we can pull it down. Let's put the hat channel in next. And we're going to be pulling that down. But before I go to that trouble, I want to take this little clip and I'm going to install it on my hemostats, like so. That way, once I get this pulled down, I can just pick up the hemostats and snap that on. So, next goes the hat channel on. I'm going to pull the hat channel down with the spring. That reveals this space right here, our slot cut in the axle shaft. And that didn't work, so let's do it this way. Let's try it with my own bare fingers. Not so far. Okay. Let's try this once again. Okay, I've got it pulled down. I'm going to try to put this clip on one more time. There we go. Got the clip on. Now we've got to rotate it around the hat channel until it drops in to the slot over the clip, like that. That'll hold it all in place. You see that good? All right. Okay, the next thing we're going to want to put on is going to be our button back here. Now, here's something I didn't notice when I first took it apart, and I noticed as I was cleaning, is there's supposed to be a washer right here. And it was actually stuck to the button. It goes right here. And so we're going to put the button in like so. And this metal clip will keep the axle shaft from wearing out the plastic on the button. So you want to keep it on there. Is it an instant reel failure if it's missing it? No. Okay, it should function okay. All right. So at this point though, before we do this, let's go ahead and put our grease in. Now remember that we were trying to keep the grease and oils off of the drag washer. So as you're greasing this, try to accomplish that. And you want a little grease on your axle shaft itself so that that spring can slide. Then take and put a little grease into the buttonhole. That will also allow you to stick the washer to the buttonhole. And put a little grease on the end where the axle shaft is going to ride. And let's slide this in. And that washer may not stay on as you slide this in. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. We'll put it on afterwards. Get it inside, then put the washer in place. Like so. Okay, with that in place, take your side. That post right there has got to fit through the button hole. Like so. Okay, so far we're doing well. We're going to put these 3 screws back in. All right, just a touch of grease is going to go on this sleeve right here. You don't need much on there at all. Just enough to allow it to slide back off later. Okay, now it's time to come back and get this spring reinstalled. Okay, we'll slide that in from the long side, bring it up and over the axle shaft, and then bring it down on this side over here into the groove, and it slid out. Let's try again. There's the slot. Okay, I wasn't putting it in the slot correctly. There we go. Okay, up and over the screw for the axle shaft and in. And now, when the button comes out, it stays. And when you rotate it, it's going to drop back in. Except that the spring popped out. So let's see what's causing that. Maybe I just didn't get it down all the way. There we go. Okay, the spring is all the way installed this time. Let's try it again. All right, see how it stays up? Rotate it, it drops back down. Just like that. Okay, now this is going to work properly. Okay, we're going to install the rotor. Now, sorry, the spool with this little notch right here. It's got to go into this notch right here. Like that. Okay, with that done, before I put this rotor on, I want to pull a little bit of line out so I can test the drag. I'm going to be pulling all this old line off of here, but I do need some line to test the drag with. There's the end of it. There we go. All right. Now let's put the rotor on, like so. Put the lock washer in place. Put the nut on. Screw it down. There we go. Let's put the handle on, like so. Tighten it down. Okay. All right, with that button pushed, the line comes out. Let's go ahead, put this on. This old line is very difficult to get through the hole because it's got a bad curve twist to it. A lot of memory. All right, there we go. Let's see what we got. Button is pushed, the line comes out freely. Let's shrink this up. There's our line, pulls out freely. It winds in easily. Now I've probably got the drag down too tight. Nope, still pulls out. Okay, good. Let's tighten it down some. Oh yeah. Nice drag. Push the button. Line comes out. All right, there you have the rebuild on the Shakespeare Wonder Cast 1771 Modle EC, and it's a nice little reel. I'm gonna pull the line off of it, put some new line on it. I think I might go take this one out and do some bluegill fishing with it. Since I'm stranded without my boat right now, I think I'll go do a little bit of bank fishing and see what I can do. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. Please tell me what it is you didn't like about it. That way I can improve it and try to make it better. Again, some people may ask me why I'm advocating for other people's channels. This is not about a competition between us. That's not what any of this is about. It's about putting information out there for you guys to be able to tear down and rebuild your own reels. I don't care who gives you the information. If it's fishing things with a Z, if it's them, great. If it's me, it's great. If it's Dennis over at Second Chance Tackle, great. I don't care who teaches you how to do it, as long as the information is there and people can use it. So for now, this is Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.